This isn't really a TTRPG channel, and it's not really an Oracles type of channel, but this seemed like it was right up my alley. I don't know if it'll be right up yours. PRIMA MATERIA is a system for integrating an Oracle into your TTRPGs, but if you know me, you know I'm probably going to try to use it for more than that. The concept and the writing is by Man Alone, while the attractive dice set was designed and produced by DiceNest. You know, this DiceNest. No, this set does not come with PRIMA MATERIA. This is Fate's Arsenal. The entire system is everything you see here. The manual, the 3 dice, and the nice Game Radius branded leather pouch, perhaps faux leather. We are ultimately looking at Oracle dice. And these are heavy. As with the rest of DiceNest's productions, they are very good quality. In the build, in the design, they feel awesome rolling in the hands. And these are observances that I don't usually make because I don't usually care about them. But DiceNest is kind of a premium dice brand. These are not cheap, so it's important to kind of highlight the quality for those who might care about that sort of thing. The images on the black die are just ever so slightly engraved. The ones on the white die are much deeper engravings. You can even probably make out from the video here. The booklet? Well, it's a booklet. It's going to explain the concept of these as Oracle dice for your decision making in your games. It will also provide a handy reference to all of the symbols that are present on the faces. Some of these faces you might become acquainted with when you roll these enough. Others, you're going to need the reference probably every time. Interestingly, page 1 is the cover. Yet the final page is not the back cover. And the inside cover also doesn't count as a page. It's all good. Let's get to the summary. This is an alchemical oracle dice created by Man Alone and manufactured by DiceNest. We have 3 dice here, 1 for soul, 1 for nox. This is essentially light and darkness. The faces on each of these, basically D12s, are the same. And they consist of symbols that mean fortune, safety, freedom, connection, body, mind, nature, society, knowledge, spirit, calm, and self. While the single D6, referred to as the syzygy dice, represents within, against, from, toward, over, and between with its faces. You can kind of see how this is going to generate different oracle readings. I'd like to gloss over the foreword for this bit in the book and get to kind of the meat of the system. The system is small. 3 dice, 12 archetypes, 6 relationships. It's an oracle you can literally hold in your hand. The meaning is also held, fixed in quantum uncertainty until decoded by you. You probably get a bit of what this means at this point. We are going to roll these 3 dice, we are going to interpret the symbols, and then we ourselves will assign the meaning, the context. PRIMA MATERIA has predecessors, Vox Gravis and Profundus, but without you, this system is inert. It has no stories to tell. Welcome to PRIMA MATERIA, and thank you for your purchase. At its core, PRIMA MATERIA is designed to generate meaningful outputs with minimal inputs, including low mechanics, memory, actions, or table space. The most obvious and easiest and most practical use chiefly is going to be what's happening at the table where there is a game of theater of the mind being played, which we don't do theater of the mind really on the channel. But we'll get to the practical uses here shortly. For us, for me, maybe for you. Produce meaningful prompts using a small number of symbols and relationships. Provide a structured, reliable, and intuitive framework without requiring rigid adherence. Offer variable approaches to result interpretation that can be equally useful to beginner solo players just as well as experienced ones. And I do like that very much, that call out to solo players so that we can roll for a situation if we're not particularly good at the theater of the mind when we are trying to play a TTRPG as a solo player, which is something that does occur. There are people out there that will play Dungeons and Dragons solo. Now, I've kind of made this observation before. It may seem like something that's it's difficult to imagine, but Ginny D has a video on the subject. And if you can do it with D&D, you can do it with any TTRPG, anywhere at all, forever. Get to your situation, and you can essentially write out the scenario yourself, the actions that the enemies are taking during combat, the actions that you're taking. But if you use these, you can actually apply a little bit more flavor to the encounter. Whether that encounter is battle, or discovery, or exploration, or diplomacy. Furnish tools that are useful at any depth, capable of providing inputs as you explore character motivations and meta themes, as well as helping you to decide what a merchant has on offer or what you find in a locked box on an abandoned space station. Keep your mind closer to the fiction than to the tools you use to generate the fiction. I really like that. because we have a large number of possibilities. We have at least 2 elements, and then we have one of 6 ways that these elements can interact with each other. We have 144 possibilities, that's 12 times 12, as is, but now we have an additional times 6 when we introduce this die. And you could also choose to not introduce this die and just have your 144 possibilities after rolling these dice, and you can decide for yourself how these 2 things should interact. And that's just outputs. That's not to say that there's any sort of limitation or cap on how you can interpret the symbols and make them mean what you need them to mean, despite each of them having a concrete definition, or at least the concept of a definition. This book is laid out intentionally, sequenced to slowly build towards higher levels of complexity. Almost everyone is capable with engaging with this material on every level, but differences in your experience levels, playstyles, and natural mind mode will influence your approach. So we will start at the beginning, albeit quite a bit of skimming. Soul and Nox are not good and bad. They are complements in tension, the opposites required for meaningful change. Every phenomenon we know is at the intersection of the is and could be. There is always a little soul within Nox and always a little Nox within soul. Now we get to Syzygy, the alchemist's catalyst. I don't see this word very often, and I never hear it pronounced. Syzygy. This looks like the name of a villain to Superman. Mr. Syzygy. Between Soul and Nox lies Syzygy, the die of relationship. Each of its symbols is a relationship expressed as a preposition, within, against, from, toward, over, and between. Right here, Ash. Syzygy is the die of relationships, the alchemist's catalyst, so to speak. These relationships describe how one principle touches another, whether it inhabits, emerges, advances, shelters, opposes, or binds. In alchemical language, Syzygy is the transmuting force, the catalyst for the moment of confrontation that allows opposites to clash or merge, or align but not combine, or even dissolve and reform into something new. We're almost there, guys. There are some other definitions that I thought would be very useful to share here. Peek, pluck, pull pass, pinch, and portent. Peek is the roll of a single die, Soul or Nox, and use of the resultant symbol as the prompt. Easy enough. Pluck, using the dice roll result to navigate oracle tables mechanically. Pull and pass, the roll of both Soul and Nox to yield 2 results, one of which you pull or choose to use as an input and thus pass on the other. I like that possibility of using the dice a lot. It's like pick one. Think about how the situation would go, then pick one. Pull and pass. Pinch, the roll of both Soul plus Nox to yield 2 results, both of which you pinch together to yield 1 combined idea or notion to use as an input. This is without using the Syzygy dice. And portent, the roll of all 3 dice, Soul, Nox, and Syzygy to yield a full set of information. Each portent is an endless loop, but here is a section of the ribbon it forms, held up and straightened between 2 fingers, pulling it out. They're just inputs, so you could, by definition of what we're talking about here, roll Soul, then Syzygy, then Nox, and then, having formed the concept that this trio of dice provides, which looks like nature towards nature. Oh, did I actually interpret that without having to read the book? Maybe I was wrong about having to have a reference the entire time. Since I know the symbols on each of the D12s are the same, it's just a matter of a little bit of memorization, and then I think you're good to go. Interestingly, though, one of these nature symbols was kind of facing down, and I think you could apply if you wanted to expand on this system. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're not even halfway through the rule book here. But you could apply the rules of reversed or inverted cards in tarot. And so if you happen to roll, which I realize you have 360 degrees here of rotation the die face could land on, but one was very clearly up and one seemed to be very clearly down, the opposite of nature. So nature becoming nature, but inverted. There's a lot of ways we could interpret that. We could also apply the direction, the orientation of the Syzygy dice, but we won't do that right now. I wanted to say, once you have established this construct here, this input, we now take the Syzygy dice again and roll it to see how this is going to have a relationship with the next concept. And we roll Soul, and now look at that. It's inverted nature again, but it's Soul. That's interesting. That's fun. That's fun. So we have ways that we can write just by using that as sort of a prompt, and we can use that as an exercise, or we can literally use that to guide our actions or our context in the game that we're playing. You could add infinitum, take the Syzygy dice and roll it, and then now roll the Nox die. And it just goes on like that. These are inputs, brief sparks of orientation that can clarify, redirect, or deepen a game in the moment. For inspiration when needed, to shape a theme or leitmotif, to determine motivations, to create moments of connection, or to generate a random idea, which is the basic Oracle usage. There are 500 and No, there are 5,563 other ways to use the dice not listed above, such as mouse ottoman. Well, it's worth getting these even if I never use them. Even if I never play another TTRPG again, if I get myself a mouse, we've got a mouse ottoman. You can also play Idiot's Jenga. I'm gonna take out the black one, and oh, Jenga! Every result can be read through one of 3 frames. A frame is not about making the result bigger or smaller, it's about where you are standing when you interpret it, inside the physical scene, inside a person, or above the situation as a moving system. Love that. The literal frame is the physical world. You can use this frame when you want the result to describe what is happening in the environment right now. Objects, terrain, weather, movement, threats, and visible action. You interpret the words as concrete conditions in the imagined space of the scene. For example, mind against calm, which is, I wish the reference had been on the page that was intentionally left blank. Here we go. We're just going to roll it out. Mind against calm might mean alarms trigger. A machine overloads, or nervous movement breaks a moment of quiet. Connection from body, which is not the symbols that I have here, could mean someone is physically restrained, carried, healed, or touched in a way that changes the scene. This frame is best for exploration, ruins, travel, combat-adjacent scenes, and immediate danger. I wonder why ruins was in here. This frame is best for exploration, travel, combat-adjacent scenes, and immediate danger. This works very well in this phrasing without ruins. But ruins is its own category. Personal frame, inner state, and motivation. Use this frame when you want the result to describe what is happening inside a character. Fear, desire, doubt, resolve, obsession, trust. You apply the result to thought, emotion, impulse, or decision making. This one is definitely going to be for the writers, and even if you are playing a tabletop dungeon crawl board game where every single element of what's going on is represented by a physical piece on the board, this is still very much going to be an application of the theater of the mind to the scene. Well, at least to a degree. I guess I should get some physical examples out here. Let's take our Harpy Lady, who is from the Dirt Cheap Dungeon Adventure series of videos I've done, but from HeroQuest. And then we'll take this two-headed goblin warrior. And now we're going to roll for them. She's just encountered this guy. I rolled a separate table, separate generation system. This is what spawned in the dungeon, which we're not in a dungeon. We're in a wasteland field, which this is the neoprene mat that comes with Maladum. I've got a lot of stuff going on here, guys. And we're deciding to interpret her mental state when she encounters this goblin. Assuming for a moment that we're trying to get to know the character as a solo player, and we're trying to flesh her out rather than just define all of her traits from the get-go and write for her. So we have fortune, and then we have between, and then this is body. Fortune between body. She believes, and this is my interpretation of these three in this context, by encountering this creature and seeing visually that it is a humanoid, it's wearing the clothing of a servant of some kind of evil, that she should be able to take money from it. She should be able to take its gold. Perhaps she is going to do so in a manner that is violent. Perhaps she is going to try to reason with it, but she sees this body and she thinks that between body is fortune. Okay, so now I would like to roll for her physical action that's about to occur, because I've rolled on another different table and she's going to take precedence in this scene. She's going to act first, and here's what I have rolled. We have self from self. This one's going to be difficult. Perhaps because it's self from self, she's going to voice her intention. And if we apply the previous roll, we're going to say she immediately demands to take this creature's money. Well, she's demanding it. The voice is coming from her. Her intention is her own, and she's communicating that intention. It's self from self. That's how I interpret it in the moment. You could interpret that a variety of different ways. I'd love to hear your comments about how you interpreted that specific roll down below. And now we can roll for what takes place next. And we're going to have the action defined by this goblinoid creature. And we're also going to establish that the soul dice comes first, and then the syzygy, and then Nox. So we have done freedom and from, and then nature. So this one's going to be interesting to try to interpret. Freedom from nature. He is free from nature. Perhaps it's his natural state to live, and we just now realized when we encounter him, he is bleeding out. In fact, he is dying. He dies right in front of us. He has been stabbed prior to running into us in the corridor. Freedom from nature. That might be a bit of a reach, but I don't think that the dice are going to judge me for it. So I could definitely roll these behind a screen, look up at the scene, and apply something pretty split second if I had to. And that's a skill you can develop, by the way. You can definitely develop that and refine it and make it better as you go along. My skill is kind of trash, but I can do it on the fly. I have no problem with this extemporaneous lore building. So now what happens? Well, I don't know, but that scene is interesting enough that I want to continue it. But I want to go on with this review. So we have the personal frame, and we have done that. We've done the literal frame, or the physical world. The structural frame, which is factions, systems, and power, is the third section, the third frame. Use this frame when you want the result to describe how forces larger than any single character are shifting. So this was a chance meeting in a dungeon, but what happens because of the result of this meeting on a grander scale? Once news gets out, once people start to question the Harpy ladies, I say Harpy, she has bird hands and bird feet. She's really cool. I actually really like this character. It's why I have her out of the box. Her stories versus the goblin scavengers who were roaming the halls and found the body of this goblin. Are they turning on each other and taking opportunity where they can, and they have to establish some kind of story as to how they found him killed by the Harpy, and it wasn't actually them that stabbed him when they lost him and he was running away, and then she just encountered him and he died? Is she going to be the perfect scapegoat? Is this going to cause a war between goblins and Harpy kind? All right, so we have nature. Is that to? From? No, it's from again. Nature from freedom. That is the inverse of the last one that I rolled. I did freedom from nature. Now it's nature from freedom. Ooh, we might need to consult the book's references to see how we might want to interpret that. So we'll put that one on hold for now. So choosing a frame in play, this is going to help if you are stalled, use the literal frame. If a character is uncertain, use the personal frame. And if the world is shifting, use the structural frame. You never need to use more than one at a time, although obviously you may if it is helpful. So we have some actual examples for literal frames. It demonstrates how the same 3-dice structure can be applied through each frame. So mind against calm, for example, is listed on all 3. In the literal frame, which is physical world and immediate events, a quiet location is disrupted by alarms, machinery, or sudden movement. The environment becomes tense and alert. If you roll mind against calm while viewing it through the personal frame, a character overthinks, panics, or fixates, preventing rest or clear judgment. And if you look at this through the structural frame, mind against calm is actually not listed on here. But we'd have to do a little bit of thinking on that one. So society over body, and my specific role is actually not in this set of examples, which is fine. But an institution exerts control via conscription, labor demands, physical marking, or body modification. I like those interpretations for those roles. We have modes of input. So far, we have considered both the components of the system as well as general ways to view suggestions of meaning they may provide. What follows are 5 modes of input, each of which represent a different approach to rolling the PRIMA Materia dice. They're not steps in a sequence, nor are they ranked by importance. They are alternative ways of working with the same symbols. So earlier, we were talking about peek, pull, pass, those things. We can utilize that here. I'm not certain how to apply these results. So I could probably go ahead and do a pinch instead of the other modes. And we're still framing this through the structural. We still want the overall political, diplomatic results of this chance encounter between these 2 individuals in this dungeon on this day. So it's nature and freedom. We're going to go wild with this. The sages of the goblin kind have determined, because of the lies told by the pack of goblins that actually murdered this goblin before it encountered the Harpy, which witnesses will corroborate that they saw the 2 together, not that they actually engaged in any sort of combat. Maybe nobody was close enough to hear the Harpy demanding the gold from the goblin, but others that know her will know that that would be her MO in murdering the goblin, which she did not do. Sages have decided to unleash a spell, or perhaps remove a sort of seal on a spell that was kept dormant, and now this spell is going to release the tree guardians, and these are spirits of the forest. In other words, nature is becoming free, and it is the eternal plight of the guardians of the forest to eradicate the Harpy race, which this would be an act of reciprocation against the Harpies. I know I'm using the race, her actual race, wrong. I don't care. It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. It's all good. He's a goblin. She's a Harpy. That sets the stage for a variety of situations to come, but that's where we're at so far. I'm pretty confident in using the Oracle like this, so the next few sections are more about building your confidence in this regard and giving you more ways to understand how exactly to use dice in this manner. We have some portents here that were rolled, and I rolled portents the entire time until that last one. And this is ways that you can interpret these different portents. These need not be the end-all be-alls. These are suggestions. The most adventurous quest you can undertake is to protect the first thought. This means resisting the impulse to discard images or sensations that arise upon the first glancing mental blow of your dice roll. Result. Consider the following. When you look at the dice and see fortune toward freedom, you instinctively move your hand towards this book for guidance on how this input can be interpreted or put into play. As you do this, you barely take notice of an image that flickers in and out of your focus in your mind. It's not complex. A flag waving in the wind. All too often, this split-second thought is disregarded on the basis of irrelevance. Usually it goes no further than this, but suppose we were to freeze time so that you can offer justification for why that is, why it was so hastily deemed irrelevant. You might say, that was idle brain activity. Something I briefly thought of based on some old mental association I have. It is a distraction from the task at hand. I need to clear my mind and read this guide so that I can make the best use of this dice roll. But when we do this, we automatically make the assumption that the spontaneous workings of the unconscious mind are meaningless. Now I have something that I want to point out. If you use the promo code MANDICEALONE, you will get 20% off your next order at DiceNest.com. This is cleverly, very tinily hidden away in this book, and now I have cleverly, very tinily hidden it away in this video by just saying it now, and now I'm going to move on. Hope you caught that. Have reverence for your own thoughts instead of pictures etched into the dice. Suppose the question is, what the hell happened here? And then the answer is, that flag. Well, for starters, what information does the flag contain? If you see a flag waving in your mind, what does it mean to you? In which situations would you see a flag like that? Is it a flag of surrender, of national pride? Perhaps it's symbolic to you of military might. Perhaps it's a flag planted in a foreign land by those who called themselves liberators, but who history will see as enslavers, and so on. Just examples. We have a bit of lore here on the background. Why are there two 12-sided dice? Why light and dark? Why Saul and Nox? I'm sorry, but I do get it. I get it enough that I don't need to read the reasons for why this tool set looks the way it does, or what inspired it. I will leave that to you if you wish to pause the video and check it out. But then we get into another section, tint. Tint, the underlying emotional interpretive register of a scene. It's usually perceived passively or automatically, though it can be brought into conscious awareness during moments of careful reflection. Tint answers a simple question. What kind of moment is this? If you're a budding author, take note of this because this is very, very important. If you don't convey the feelings that are in a scene or what the scene is supposed to represent or what kind of mood the scene is in, then when you have the payoff for the scene in your writing, it may not have the intended effect on your desired audience because they didn't know the scene was supposed to be that dark or that much of a buildup or that the emotions were tense. That's kind of related to what's being talked about here. Current tint being neutral. If the current tint is soul, a roll of soul means go to neutral tint. A roll of Nox means go to tint Nox or night. And if the current tint is Nox, a roll of Nox means go to the neutral tint. And a roll of soul means go to soul tint or day. And you can track this however you like. You can think that when you're in a neutral tint, that whatever your first thought is in interpreting the dice, that should be what you go with. You don't need to think about it until there is a situation where tint changes. And tint changes when you roll doubles using this system. It's when you roll doubles, which we've done a couple of times in this video, oddly enough, a lens shift occurs. And to determine how the tint changes, you will roll all three dice. And the die that is closer to the syzygy die is the lens shift. It's the new tint of the scene. So now we are going to Nox from neutral because the Nox die is closer to the syzygy die. This is actually a lot more complex, but it's all very concise. It's very, very nice. Spin the wheel. What do you see? Interesting. We have a table here we can roll on. We'll do that. We'll roll on this table. So we've got soul, this, and that goes here. It looks like two hands holding. I like that. I like the picture table as a kind of shortcut. You could just use this table and nothing else, or we have NPC reactions and dispositions, and this is like gold in a book that's already really, really rich with the concept and also providing you with the tools to utilize the concept. So it's really a complete package, but having the NPC reactions and dispositions here, really, really cool to see. Let's roll these two and see what we get. The disposition of the NPC I have just created is going to be restless. And our doubles, of course, are marking out these particularly distinctive disposition types. Next, we've got actions. We could just roll for actions and then consult the table. 144 actions, right? And I have rolled learn. This restless NPC is learning. We have geographic features and landmarks. Might as well continue this charade, this game that I'm not really playing. High ground. Oh, it's over for you, Anakin. Next up is mostly made up names. If you just want to name your NPC, there's lots of ways to do that, but you're unlikely to roll the same one twice anytime soon. Cartwright. So a last name in this regard, I would say. I guess you could be a first name though. Hello, Cartwright. Complications. This is a particularly large table, but really it's just 2 symbols grouped under each result. So it gives you more room to write the descriptions for the complications. I have reason and obligation. You feel the tug of responsibility, even if you wish it were not so. Let's do quest prompts real quick. Oh, we actually got to roll all 3. No, wait, do we? Oh, it depends on the tint, I suppose. I'm actually not sure. You roll 3. Roll 3 times. Yes, you got to roll 3 times. Okay, so in that way, it's an RNG table. Maintain chaotic and roll the 3rd time. Writing. Maintain chaotic writing. We have a tome of chaos spells that we have to keep safe in maintaining it. It could also mean we have to keep it updated if we're already a chaotic character. Really like that. Really think that that's cool. Last, you can create your own useful keys here in the back, and this should have sparked something in me from the get-go. You can create your own tables. You can create your own meanings with the Syzygy dice. Syzygy Ash. We've got quick plucks. I want to see what the symbols mean, read the core principles, read definitions. We've got a table of contents for all that stuff. We have keywords connected to each of the 12 faces across both of the dice, both Soul and Nox, that is. We have interpretations, what it means to peek, pluck, push, pull, pinch, or portent, and definitions for frames, as well as tint shifts. That is the entirety of the book. It's very simple, and I feel like I've already absorbed everything in it, and I'm just ready to utilize these across every single scenario. So together with my Fate's Arsenal dice, which I will roll and then break my table. What did I even roll? A 3? Ow. My harpy is going on an adventure to clear her name. She did not kill that 2-headed goblin. She just wanted its money, and she was going to kill it, but she's been wrongly accused. So I want to thank DiceNest for providing me with this product. They sent it after clarifying it was completely made with just the human touch. No generative AI in the book. I really appreciate that. I want to thank Man Alone and congratulate both of them on what is a very cool set of tools here, as well as a beautiful set of dice. If you can appreciate dice work, I encourage you to go check out DiceNest. Links to all this stuff is in the description below. I'm curious to know what your take on tools like this is. Is it useful? And that puts this adventure to rest for now, brave heroes. So I will see you in the next exciting adventure. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And for now, onward.